Okay.
Okay. It is 7:01, Thursday, February 12th. I will call the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Flores?
Gonzalez?
Here.
Hussein?
Here.
Jost?
Here.
Mason?
Here.
Moldowski?
Here.
Pelletier? Here.
Okay. Public comments, agenda items only. It's us and Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Okay. So we're at the consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull off the consent agenda?
I just had a correction. Do you want to pull that off, or can we
No,
do it as amended?
You can do it as amended. Let me know.
Okay. So you now we're after,
One step each.
yes.
Yep, okay. All right, so if you don't want to pull anything out, I'm gonna make the motion and you can.
Actually, telling now. Yeah, sorry, consent agenda.
Okay,
Yeah.
regular board meeting, January 8th, page 2, unfinished business, Gonzalez is spelled wrong.
Okay.
Oh.
It's spelled with the S at the end?
No, it's an extra O instead of an A.
No, okay, okay.
Did you catch that on your name?
No.
Oh, I see it, I see it.
I know there was a former Gonzalez with an S,
She
so as
spelled
I
it
was
with an
going
S?
through, I was like, crap, nope, that's not me.
Yeah, we'll go.
together.
Yeah, oh yeah, I see it, it's on the back of the
Yeah,
unfinished
yeah,
business.
Yeah, we'll get that changed.
Good catch.
That's all.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda, to approve the regular board meeting minutes for January 8th, 2026 as amended, the special board meeting minutes from January 26th, January 27th, 2026, the special board meeting executive session from January 26th, January 27th, 2026, the regular board meeting executive session from November 24th, 2024, June 12th, 2025, June 10th, 2025, October 9th, 2025, and November 13th, 2025. I just need a second.
I'll say
Oh,
it.
thank you. Yes, that's on the full motion.
Oh.
And then it's approved, the financial reports and the early closure.
Oh, thank you,
are also
thank you,
part of the
approved,
consent
thank you.
agenda.
Thank you for catching that. I was like,
I got it all
all
out,
the
if
dates.
you want it at the bottom.
No,
that's
and
the whole page.
I got so happy that I got all the meeting dates. So I stopped talking.
I wrote it on.
And the
the
financial
page.
reports for January 2026.
I will copy your
Approved
directive.
early closure, April 10th, 2026.
I'll second.
And now you'll second. Tara was on
Camera
it.
seconds.
Oh, you're doing.
Okay. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Jost?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Moldowski?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes.
Okay. All right, president's report, so, Pam did include her official letter of, retirement for everyone, that's mentioned in her, director's report, but Pam and I did touch base, about her last leaving April 17th. It actually is the last day of the pay period, so that works out a little bit better.
Actually, it makes it easier for, everyone I'm leaving behind, so.
And I do want to offer a reminder that there is an optional trustee training series of webinars. If the dates, if you have conflicts, if you register, they are recorded, so you can watch them later. So so March 7th, that's trustee budgeting. April 4th, empowering patrons through AI literacy. And May 9th is book bans and intellectual freedom for trustees. So even if you're like, well, two of them seem more interesting, I would, just suggest that you consider, registering for them. And again, as long as you're registered, the recording is sent to you so you can view it later. Which I know I will have to do for at least one of them. So just a little reminder for that. Okay. So, committee reports, finance we covered under the consent agenda. Facilities we will talk about a little bit more under new business and Pam's director report. And I know policy is scheduled to meet sometime in March, so, and that'll be, figured out. So staff reports, what else would you like me to highlight or add
Just
something?
as Emily said, you have my official retirement letter. I don't know if everyone got it when I did the first time, but the date has changed because I did say I would stay a little bit longer with the, so there's a little bit of overlap between me and a new director. So the other thing that I did want to talk about just a little bit was, I know last year we had talked about in 2026, before I decided to retire, that we would be looking at doing some reconfiguration of the main floor. But I think with the changes and stuff, both in personnel, both in facilities, with the new executive director coming, depending on how that may or may not impact the staffing in the rest of the library, kind of thing. I decided that I wouldn't pursue that in the 4 months that I was here in 2026. But there are still building priorities that we could work on, because I did put aside monies like I do every year for building improvements. So one of the things that I was thinking we could do this year, which we have been talking about for a number of years, is security cameras. And Kim, I know you had some questions, and I responded to you, so I don't know if you saw, but it was later in the day. So Kim had some questions about security cameras, so we can talk more about that. But that was one thing. We're getting an updated facilities assessment that's already been scheduled, so SMC engineers have been around, and so we're doing that. Every so many years, it's not regularly, but every so often, every year we have to tell both the auditor and I have to do it on the IPLAR, the appraised value of the library and all of its contents and everything like that. So every so often, we actually have a professional appraisal company come out and appraise everything in the whole building. And so I was thinking, it's been a number of years since we last had that done. And so I was thinking about getting that in the works, at least getting that scheduled as well. And then, especially now, after seeing how bad the parking is after this particularly bad winter, and the dumpster sitting out on the back, I almost said back patio, back parking area. I'm looking at doing parking lot resurfacing and restriping. So I feel like those are all things that we need to have done that are a little bit less labor intensive in terms of like planning out for the whole year, that kind of thing. And so this way, when the new director comes, he or she can kind of think about what 2027 and beyond will look like. So those are some of the priorities that I thought we could, at least, like I said, I could start getting those things scheduled so that they would be in the works. And they're all things that we need to have done anyway. So that's kind of what I was thinking about, a slight switch and not doing a big project, but doing a number of smaller things that we need to address around the building. So, if that's something that the board is in general agreement with, I can move forward on scheduling some of those things. And security cameras, obviously, is the bigger issues, and the board will have to vote on that. But some of the other things are, all more fall under the amount that I'm willing to spend. Kind of thing. So, so that's, and especially, like I said, with me leaving, Melissa's out for until at least the end of February on medical leave. Gaka's been out for a couple of months on workers' comp, with Tim being new. There's just lots of, just made it a little bit difficult to plan a kind of a reconfiguration of the main floor space with all of that, so. But I think, unless anyone has any questions about either my report or any of the manager reports, I just wanted to highlight some of the things that I'm thinking about in terms of building priorities for the rest of the time that I'm here and throughout the rest of the year.
Any questions from you? So, unfinished business, executive director search update. So everyone should have gotten.
I would recommend that you don't say the candidate names on the recording, because Alex doesn't want that out in the general public.
Yes, everyone should have, and I don't think it's on the letter either.
It's not on the letter, I just mentioned it in my notes, it's not anywhere else, so I was just gonna say, just because people do watch the notes.
So we got a letter from Dieters and Todd, just kind of outlining how the final interview will go go. That's again scheduled for Saturday, February 21st. They also did email, which maybe for February 21st, so they did email the finalist questions. What Pam can do is email those ahead of time to everyone, if you.
I will email them out as soon as this meeting is
Yeah.
done. My apologies, I didn't,
No, that's
I
okay.
wanted to get them to the managers and get some other information sent out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't here yesterday, spent literally the entire day in the emergency room with my husband. So he's fine, he's having some problems with his blood pressure and stuff, but anyway, and it was just like, it was crazy. I've never seen that emergency room so crowded. It was nuts. We got there at like 8:45 and I didn't leave till like 3:45, 4 o'clock. It was.
And you're just like
And I was just
completely
sitting
exhausted.
there. Yeah, and
Completely
I'm
exhausted.
sitting there all day and he's laying there, but I was still, by the end of the day, I'm like, all right, it's time for bed.
Yeah, oh, for sure, yeah.
Anyway, so my apologies for not
No.
getting that sent out to managers, or to board members. I'll email them as soon as we're done here, because what I would recommend that you do is, take a look at them, and if there's anything you want to change, or if there's other things that you want to potentially add, now would be the time, because, as Emily said, Alex sent them to she and I, the questions, but they're gonna send both the trustee questions and then the manager questions to the candidates on Tuesday, I think is what, Alex said, so I'll get those emailed to you tonight. If there's any additions that you want to, or changes or anything like that, then just email me those, and then I can forward those to Alex, and they can make sure that they're legally appropriate and all those other kinds of things.
And these will
I
literally
can probably tell you if they are as well. I know about as much as Alex does, so. But,
These were literally sent this afternoon, so
Yeah.
it's not, we haven't
Yeah,
been sitting
that's-
on them for a while, so, but just FYI, those are coming.
Also
so.
somewhat related, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
What I handed out to you was the menu for lunch on Saturday. So Karina also, very nicely
She made
printed out
all
pictures in
pictures.
case you wanted to see the pictures of the Panera food. So this is all from Panera. So if you just pick what you want and then just write your name on it, and then we'll get that all for lunchtime on Saturday, so.
That's,
so cute.
Yeah, so if you could just give that to me by the end of today, that would be great, if you
Yeah.
can.
yes.
Yeah. If not, by sometime over the weekend, if you want to email it to me, or just let me know, because we have to order on Tuesday to make sure that everything is here. Oh, and then also, sorry. There's, we are giving out Valentine's to all staff tomorrow, and so we have some for the board as well. So we didn't hand them out because there's different kinds of candy attached to each one, so we'll let you guys pick what you want.
That's so cute, that's so cute.
And there's extras if you want to take some for your kids too, for those of you that have children.
Related to our marketing department, I don't know if you all follow the library on Instagram, but they did a great thing with shots from the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime.
Oh, yeah.
All library related,
Oh, yeah.
that, it was really funny.
Check it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well done.
they do an awesome job on our socials, yes.
We just filmed, while the bathrooms aren't officially open yet, we did do a ribbon cutting, which was toilet paper. So I forget who had the
That's
idea,
cute.
so we did the toilet paper, so we'll be posting that one too, but we're gonna wait till it's actually open.
Yeah.
But we wanted to film it the other day, it was really funny.
That's funny. Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. All right, so renovation update, so, Baxter Auditorium is officially open, which is great. Yeah, and so, and we had the ribbon cutting. I'm excited to see that, that's really cute.
And I forget who thought of that, but I'm like, that is such a cute idea to have the ribbon be the toilet paper, so, yeah. So the Baxter Auditorium is open, we continue to have a few problems with the stupid lift, which everyone knows how I feel about that, but, they're coming back out, apparently it's moving really quick, which I'm sure is a little disconcerting for anyone, in there in a wheelchair or a walker or, trying to hang on to it. And it also isn't, when it goes up to the top, I guess it's going higher than the ledge or not high enough. So given what it costs us to have someone come out and fix this damn thing, they're coming back out to look at it again. But it's really frustrating because it's one company and they're the only ones that can do it. And so just the waiting is really difficult on top of everything else. But at least it's functional a little bit. I mean, it's functional, it's just, it's not lining up perfectly, so it's not great, but
Yeah.
I mean, as I have mentioned several times before, I do think that it's something that eventually the board and the next administration is gonna have to figure out what we wanna do long-term, because it's, especially as the lift ages and we'll have to get it repaired more, it's really,
It doesn't make
it's
sense.
so expensive, it's just, I think at some point it might become untenable, but anyway.
Yeah.
So the bathrooms, are not quite done, I mean, they're done. There's a couple of chipped mirrors that have been reordered and we're waiting on those, but the mirrors are up and everything, like they could be used. And then, we're trying to figure out, for the new fans that are in there are very loud. And so we're trying to find out why that is and if we can get quieter ones. And the other thing, and we didn't have this problem with the bathrooms before the renovation, so we're not really sure what's going on, is it's cold. They're really super cold. And so I'm like, well, I don't wanna, use the bathroom when it's freezing here, I mean, I literally have been sitting at my desk with my coat on, and they can attest to that, so I'm always cold, but, so we're trying to figure that out. We did have our guy from Midwest Mechanical come out and look at everything, so he made some recommendations. I haven't had a chance to review those yet, but my goal is to get them open by Monday, even if they do have to be a little bit loud and it would be cold. I think some of that might be too, is that the doors aren't opening and closing in the same, to the same way, right? Because we're not letting them use them and stuff, but it is a little uncomfortably cold, and we do think it's all kind of related to the power of the fans, the new fans, and the air intake that's around there. And our crazy building, the HVAC is nuts anyway, but they look really great. If you haven't seen them, I'm happy to take you down there and show them, or you can sneak past the stanchion things, whatever they're called.
They look good.
The bathrooms look good. It's such an improvement, the lighting and everything. And I think I mentioned before that we will have a big sign in the hallway reminding people to look where they're going so they don't inadvertently go into the wrong restroom since they're flip-flopped. Yeah.
That's
But
gotta be good.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Because
So.
I would be that one, would be like, we do.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe, that they've been closed for a couple months now, so maybe that will kind of breaks that habit a little bit, hopefully. But I know, like for people that have been coming a long time, they're just automatically going into the women's or men's room, yeah, so.
Maybe when there's programs in the auditorium, they should just give reminders if they're,
Yeah, just when they're making
yeah,
announcements saying,
yeah.
just remember that bathrooms are flip-flops, so don't go in the wrong one. I mean, but I think that was it, unless anyone has any other questions about anything.
Thank you. All right, so, next is new business, so I'm gonna open up this, resolution with a motion, and then we can discuss if we need to. I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-01, authorizing the adoption of web content accessibility guidelines.
I'll second. No, you're good.
So this is a resolution addressing the digital accessibility of our digital resources. So are there any questions regarding this?
Is it a guideline because it's not officially policy yet? Like, does it become a policy?
Does what become a policy?
The guidelines, are those adopted as an official policy? Or it's just?
Those
it's
are
not-
guidelines from the federal government.
Okay, so it's just saying that we're doing our best.
Yeah, so we're doing this as just one more piece that we can post on our website to show that we are working towards digital accessibility. This was, I know Leanna and maybe not Kim aren't aware of some of this, but back in April, I don't know, sometime in 2024, I think 2024, there was a number of libraries throughout the state, and actually a number of institutions, either government, schools, government units of government, libraries, that kind of thing, got hit with civil rights violations for their web content not being accessible to people with, either some type of disability that made it difficult for them to, read things on the computer, whatever. So, and so these libraries were sued. And so as part of that, there's a number of things that we now have to do. We have to make sure that all of our content is accessible, digitally accessible to like screen readers, all of those kinds of things. The problem is that it not only applies to stuff that we put on our website, it also applies to any third party that we contract with. So the thinking behind this law was originally that, people who use these products will pressure the vendor to make these changes. It's very difficult. There's a lot of libraries and stuff like that, but these companies are gonna do what they're gonna do, but that's difficult. And then the other thing is that a lot of us have content on our websites. For example, one of the hardest things for us to make digitally accessible has been all of the board packet information. So we've got statements. That's why you'll see sometimes, if you look at the stuff that's posted online, Layton's been very good about posting in front of like many of the financial stuff, because spreadsheets cannot be read by a screen reader, and PDFs cannot be read by a screen reader because it just sees it as an image. So if we're copying things as PDFs, and that's usually how we're posting it on the website, it can be difficult. So we've got statements on the website that, if you are unable to access this material, to please contact us, and that we'll get that to someone in whatever format is accessible to them. And then also it has been strongly recommended that one of the other things that libraries do to protect themselves from potential suits is having a resolution saying that we are aware of the laws, we're working towards being compliant, blah, blah, blah. So that's what this is. It's just another piece in this whole thing about, just another way for us to let people know that yes, we are working towards this, accessibility, that but it's tough. It's really been, Layton's done a lot of work on it, but there's still a ton of things that are not digitally accessible. And all the things that make the website really fun and engaging are the kinds of things that are more difficult for screen readers and people that use other devices to access web content. So, there are libraries, one of the libraries that was sued actually has pared down their website to mostly text. So I'm like, we're taking, we're stepping back in some ways, like I said, all the things that make the website really fun and engaging and people want to
That's
stay on
definitely
it.
engage people. And then,
Right, so it's this kind of, it's difficult, but we're doing what we can, but like I said, this is just another piece of that puzzle, if you will, to let people know that we're working towards this, so that's all this is.
Good. Okay, we'll vote.
Hussein?
Yes.
Jost?
Yes.
Exeter?
Yes.
Kowalski?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Okay, so next up we have the security camera installation. Kim, I know you had some questions about this. I had a question about the first one, but please go ahead.
You should make the motion first.
To talk about?
Yeah, you should always make the motion first, and then
Doing the
that
review.
discussion.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the proposal from FSS Technologies LLC in the amount of $19,325.88 for the installation of security cameras.
Sorry,
No,
Yeah, now let's talk.
I don't know if you want to answer your questions, or if you want me to address the questions that Tim had, or.
For the first one for FSS, it does say, I'm just curious where the cameras are. It says see layout for locations, am I missing?
Was that, did that,
Yeah.
okay. So the FSS proposal, yes, I was gonna say FSS, is scalable. It was the only one out of everyone that we talked to, and I'll just address one of Kim's questions. Kim had raised some questions in an email earlier today, but she asked about the RFP. We did not issue an RFP, because we didn't have any clue what we were looking for at that point, so mostly we were just getting some pricing. And so when this final one came in, they said that they were scalable, they could come under, because we don't need the whole, because some of the proposals, if you could see, they were 30 cameras all over the building, that kind of thing. So FFS came in and said, we can do a scalable system if you want, we start with the areas that, of the greatest need, if you will, or that make the most sense for us. And we're really where we're hoping to get some kind of coverage just to keep the building and our patrons and staff secure. So it would be at both entrances.
Okay.
The staff entrance and then looking out towards the parking and the parking lot. I think there'll be one that we can see the book drop. Both entrances, staff entrance, book drop area. One downstairs by the hallway by children's, and then one somewhere else, but one towards the middle school area. So those were areas that we're seeing. We were trying to catch the traffic coming in and out of the building, traffic in and out of the departments, and then areas where there were no lines of sight. So like the middle school room, it's difficult. There is a little bit of lines of sight, but not a lot into that room. So it wouldn't be like, one of Kim's concerns was privacy. And so there would not be anything near the computers to see what people were checking out, to see what they were looking at on the computers, that kind of thing. The other thing is that the technology is sophisticated enough now that they're able to blur out the things, like if they happen to get a computer screen, that kind of thing, they're able to blur those things out. So we're mostly just looking at it in terms of the physical safety and security of our patrons and staff in the building. So, I mean, because we've had the book drop hit at least twice.
By cars?
By cars,
Yep,
you know,
okay.
we've had accidents where people, you know, the patrons and the police will ask if we have security cameras. When we've had incidences with patrons, sometimes it would be helpful to have that. We've had some staff instances that it would have been helpful to have some security, you know, in, that's where the other one was. I think there's one that's by the garage somewhere too. So, so mostly it's for that type of thing, just to have a better idea of, you know, who's coming in and out of the building. If there is an incident, then we're able to see what happened, that kind of thing. So not so much to see what they're doing or anything like that. It's mostly more preventative than anything else.
I had a couple questions also. Just listening to you right now, I'm wondering, do we have a sense of how many cameras ideally we want then?
I think
Like if we were to scale, if we start with 6, like how much are we trying to?
we don't have a
or-
set number at this point. I think that, you know, we started looking at this when Ed was still here, and so, and I think he had a slightly different approach than I did. I think he wanted more cameras and not fewer. So the short answer is no, we don't have a sense of the total number at this point. And some of that will depend, particularly if at some point there is a reconfiguration of space on the main floor. You know, there may be a time that we do want to have a camera that at least sees into the computer room, or can see into the quiet reading room, that kind of thing. So a lot of it's just gonna depend on, to see what's actually covered with the ones that we do install, if the board does indeed vote to do this. And you could choose not to pursue this at this time if you want, that's up to you completely. So a lot of it's gonna depend on what we can actually see with the ones that we do install, and then, you know, figure out, hey, do we need any more? We may not, we may find that this is really all we need or want. And then if there's ever a reconfiguration of space that, again, kind of impacts lines of sight, that kind of thing, because, you know, I don't care what people are doing in the building as long as they're not, you know, breaking any of our policies or the laws. So, you know, I don't really care about that. So some of it's just gonna depend on what we think we need to see at that point.
Do we know what kinds, it says here install 6 IP cameras. Do we know if that's what's best? So a little bit of background. I've done this project at my condo, and we moved from like and I don't know the proper lingo for this, but like the regular just camera that faces this way. We had one in one corner, one in the other to cover our courtyard, so that they kind of cross like an X. And then ended up a couple of years later having to essentially redo the entire project, and we got the fisheye ones instead, because those kind of, so I was just wondering,
These
I don't know.
these are the fisheye
Okay.
ones, so they will move
So
around.
they'll kind
Yes.
of,
Yeah, there will
so
be
that'll
some
give us
movement.
a decent amount
Yeah.
of coverage
So
with
it's not
fewer cameras.
It's my understanding
That's good.
that they will be
Yeah.
capable of that movement, so they can track as well, so, yeah.
My other question was regarding who's gonna monitor and how will that be? It looks like it's monitored through an app, where some of the other ones have like a monitor, that somebody would like, whatever.
Yeah.
Watch the
So
screen.
what we would probably do is, the library has various digital devices
Mhm.
that we can, or we would purchase one that we would use just to, and we would earmark it towards this, and that would be the one that we would track it on then. The advantage of it being tracked with an app too is that, that would give someone like Tim, you know, the facilities manager, or the new, or the director, myself, depending on when that happens, or the new director, or managers, the ability to access something from outside the building as well, which would be really helpful, you know, when we've had instances that have happened.
If the time arises or an incident arises.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
If, I mean, and it's not something necessarily that we're gonna have open all the time. I foresee this, I mean, we're very, very fortunate that we don't have a lot of incidences. And so, my intent had always been that, you know, that they would be there if we needed to access them, or, you know, any filming would be there if we needed it, or if something happened. And then, but it wouldn't be something that I'd like have it open all the time and be, you know, tracking, because I have more, you know, better things to do than to see who's coming in and out all day, that kind of thing, so. So we haven't talked about any of the kind of procedures or policies around this, because we've never had security cameras at all, so this would all be very new. So the first step is obviously getting the board approval to move forward, and then we would start working on some of those procedures and policies related to that.
Yeah, that was another one of my questions, is like chicken and egg, like shouldn't there be a policy before we have cameras?
If the board feels strongly that they want that to happen, we can certainly do that in that
Okay.
order. I personally don't think that we need to. I mean, and quite frankly, if the board approves this, I mean, it's gonna be a while, so there's still some time to do that.
We still have time to implement a policy, like, you know, and
Yeah.
it's not like these would be installed tomorrow.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
and-
I mean,
and,
I don't even know when a potential installation would be if the board, you know, votes tonight to move forward. And if we table this and, you know, bring it up again in subsequent months, you know, then certainly we can. You know, if the thinking is that we still have some questions, we're not ready to pull the trigger tonight, that's not a great analogy, my apologies. If we're not, you know, ready to move forward tonight, I'm certainly happy to develop a policy, you know, in the interim, but I, you know, as Emily said too, it's not like these would be installed tomorrow, so we would, you know, turn them on and not have anything in place. We would have some time to develop those procedures in that policy.
My other question is about, personally, I feel like I need more information. I would wanna have an understanding of where the data is stored, how long it's stored, like what level of facial recognition are we getting? Is the data, are we guaranteed privacy, and then it's not shared without specific consent of the director, things like that. Because so many security companies are also data companies, and I think that's an important thing to know.
Okay.
I think the 30-day max in the description is how long the data is stored.
Yeah.
That's what we have, it's like for
Okay.
30 days and then it gets erased.
that as.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That is makes sense, yeah.
Do we know kind of like information regarding warranty, or like if there need to be software updates, those kinds of things, like what else is included for the cost, in terms of like maintenance? Or do we have like a person that we would, I don't know,
We
troubleshoot
don't
with?
Yeah.
we don't have that information right now, so, I'm writing down all of your questions, so it sounds like, the board is not ready to move forward with this, because it sounds like you still have a number of questions that need to be answered. Because I don't have that information yet, so,
And then is this just a one-time fee that we'd be paying? There's not like a monthly to use the app, or is there anything?
There may be a monthly fee. We were really focused, and I will say, we were really focused on kind of getting this started, because we've been talking about it for a long time, and this was the first reasonable proposal that we have gotten. Because no one else has been willing to work with us on kind of a scalable system. So, so we were, excited to do that. That being said, we can do this at any time, and these are all great questions, and I'm certainly willing to do this, and we can revisit this again in February if the board wants to do that. I can find out how long this quote was good for from them, and if they have to issue us another one or extend it or whatever. But
Does everyone feel better with that, getting some of the questions answered before moving forward with FSS?
So the questions I have are, where is the data stored? What are they doing with the data that they're gathering in terms
Right,
of
who has
privacy
access to
guarantees,
it?
who has access
Are
to
they
it?
selling it?
Software updates, maintenance, the costs associated with that, if there's any monthly fees associated with using the app, is there anything else that I missed?
I had another question that I don't know if maybe just isn't here that wasn't part of like the conversation. If there's any how do I say this, negotiation or something with the phase approach. So if we were to say we're gonna try the 6 cameras, and if we lock in for phase 2 to add another, I don't know, 3 to 4, whatever, insert the number of cameras, as a repeat customer or something, like more a little bit about the phasing aspect
So
of it and what the cost would
locking in
be.
a price, if we can guarantee that we'll be adding
Yeah,
something, say
something like that,
2027, something like that.
Or what they offer. I'm just
Okay.
curious, because I feel like the quotes that we have, they're so like one
Yeah.
side of the scale and the other, this one
And-
seemed a little too good to be true in a certain
Well,
way,
I
but I
think
feel
part
like
of it
other
is
stuff
because
has a
it's
lot of stuff.
scalable.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
others were like, all or
This is
nothing
the
kind of
sample
thing.
package.
This is it, so
And
like
like
there's
this
30
one,
cameras
yeah.
and
I know, oh my
everything
gosh.
like that.
Yeah,
The other one
okay.
was like, we can start you off with these basics, and then we can add as necessary
Yeah.
or as you
Okay.
want. So,
Cool.
negotiation for locking in price if we
Yeah.
guarantee that we're gonna add additional cameras. Any-
We just got some of our tax coins, and we're gonna be spending them all over the place.
Yeah, as a recurring cost, do you see this impacting, I mean, it's a safety thing, but is this considered just like a building maintenance?
Yeah, once it's actually done, any ongoing costs associated with it, would just be considered building maintenance or equipment maintenance, something like that. So.
Do we know, once we've done the installation piece, what kind of, we have like the 3-year license, like does that keep us going for 3 years, or are there other annual fees on top of that?
That was one of the questions.
Yeah, well, okay.
Oh, those are
Yeah.
the question.
So
Okay.
the licensing fee, I would think, would be the majority of whatever any
Yeah.
fees we would have to pay. And it's possible that any monthly fees associated with using the app are incorporated into
Okay.
that, but I will break it.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Thank you for circling back.
Was there any other questions other than what I just said?
I was wondering if the cameras get audio?
No, they're just visual. I believe. Let me verify that though.
whole nother level.
But I think it's just visual. Usually they're
for
not
example,
audio.
Wait a minute.
We had an incident, I think, before you came on the board where somebody said something that was potentially hate speech in the computer lab, so if we could have heard what they said,
Yeah, that
would
would've,
have helped,
yeah.
would have been open and shut.
I believe they're only visual, but I will check.
Yeah, I think it's not super common.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, and we could probably get that if we wanted, but that would, be, I'm sure, add additional cost because there's different components, and then you've got,
This is pretty easy.
that much more. Yeah, because that would pick up things like the conversation you're having at the reference desk,
Yeah.
or,
Our staff
whatever
having
that kind of,
conversations, yeah.
yeah. Not that it's not open and you can, I mean, you'd be surprised at the things people ask out in the open, what they say out in the open, but,
Yeah.
yeah. I will find out the answers to all of these things,
Thank you.
and, so.
So we will table this.
Yeah, and then hopefully I'll have some answers by the March meeting, and then,
So,
The other option, let me take a step back, is that if the board wanted, we could go out to RFP. It gets a little tricky because one of the things you're not supposed to do when you put in an RFP is use a company to help you write it, because they think that company then has a leg up because they know what you're
Yeah.
looking for, that kind of thing. But it's really difficult for something like this that no one on my staff has expertise to do this, so how do I write the RFP? However, if the board wants to go that route and say, we're gonna do 30 cameras all at once and spend $50,000 to $80,000, that's an option that we have too, but we would have to go out to RFP and do that whole process, so.
It doesn't seem like that's where our thoughts are headed either. I think it's more, let's get these questions answered so we have more of a comprehensive idea of how this is gonna go. Yeah?
Yes.
Is that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, my concern with the RFP was just having like a clear statement of this
What we
is what we're
wanted,
looking
yeah.
for, this is why we're looking for it.
Yeah.
I'm not a believer in cameras for the sake of having cameras, because I don't think that's true security. It can be a layer, but.
And that's what this
yeah,
would be
yeah.
just an additional layer. And like I said, we've been very, very fortunate in this library for a variety of reasons, and that we don't have a lot of incidents happen. However, we do have some, and there have been
Yep.
a number of times that having some cameras would have been really useful
Yeah.
to, the book drop.
And then is
That's-
part of this also, and I don't know if this is a policy thing, that we have signs at the entrance of,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, we would put
Yeah.
that on. Yeah, we would put those signs on the door, but.
All good questions. Okay, so we've tabled this, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay, so review closed session, minutes, so this is something that, there's no action right now.
We need to decide on this one. Yeah, there is.
For,
Suggested motion.
I'm sorry, I read the wrong thing, sorry. So we have, several closed session, meeting minutes, and, so I will make a motion, okay, to release the closed session, minutes for the meetings on November 14th, 2024, June 12th, 2025, July 10th, 2025, October 9th, 2025, November 13th, 2025, January 26th, 2026, and January 27th, 2026.
So I know some of you have done this before, but I know Ileana and Ken probably have not. This is required, and we should do it every 6 months, and this is completely on me that we did not do it last summer, so my apologies, but we're doing it now. So we are supposed to review our closed session minutes, both the written minutes and the recordings, and we do two things. We vote to either keep minutes closed or release them to the public. My recommendation is that all of the minutes that you guys just approved, that we release them to the public. Our closed session minutes are fairly basic.
Yep.
We don't go into a lot of detail, so there's really no reason not to release them to the public, so that would be my recommendation. And then you're able to delete recordings off of your, whatever digital recording device you use, as long as you have written minutes for those meetings. So we have written minutes for them, but you can't delete the digital recordings prior to 18 months. So we don't have any responsive recordings right now to delete or anything. But so the next time that you do this in July, there will be recordings that the board can vote to destroy them. But right now, you're just voting on releasing the minutes that I have outlined here. So, and it would be my recommendation.
Can I ask a question about that?
Uh-huh.
For the executive director candidate interviews,
Mhm.
when would these be released, and would that kind of potentially, would we run into an issue where we haven't had our final interviews yet?
No,
And it would disclose?
they would be released, so meaning go up on the website as soon as we got them there. So, tomorrow or early next week, depending on how soon we can get them loaded. Right now, those minutes do not indicate names of anyone.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay, I just
so
wanted to
they're,
make sure that.
basically, they just say the candidates for the position were interviewed, so there's no
Oh,
names that were
okay,
listed, so
okay.
we're okay with
Okay,
that.
cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if like the minutes were like the transcription of the recording of
No,
the.
it's basically,
It's like the same
it's like
minutes we read
it's
as
an
a-
executive
Oh,
session,
yeah.
those who
Thank
answer,
you.
those who answer calls.
And those,
You know,
this
this
is, these are all
okay.
there,
So-
so
oh,
that's,
these are-
yeah, these are the actual minutes
Oh,
that you're
okay.
seeing.
And I have,
So-
yeah, thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
So in this packet, these are the minutes that you're seeing, so you can see they're pretty basic and they're
Yeah.
pretty bare
Yeah.
bones, and, which we have been told is fine, that basically the minutes should reflect the action that is taken. And so
Okay.
that's what we did,
Yeah.
saying
Thank
that,
you.
discussed a personnel
and
matter,
it's-
or
it's a good question.
did
No,
the
it's
director's
making sure that-
review, or, did the candidate interviews,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
same thing with the, because some of these were for the trustee interviews as
Mhm.
well.
Yep.
It was the same type of thing, where we didn't list out the individual trustee names or the individual candidate names. It was
Okay.
just, a generic statement.
Good question. Okay, great, we can vote on that. Jost?
Yes.
Basinger? Yes. Moldavsky?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now I want to find out where I was actually. Okay, so the Library Board of Trustees bylaws review. So, yes, it has been a few years since we have reviewed the bylaws. And, yeah, Pam and I briefly chatted about this a little bit ago, but it does make sense to just do a quick review. So my thought was, since I know that the policy committee has a group to review, executive committee, what do you guys think about doing a bylaws review? Whichever, I'm fine here, okay. And I think that I will be in touch with you. I will probably ask for,
Here you go, I kind of think that it might, in thinking about this more, it might be better to appoint a completely separate committee to review the bylaws, because it's a little bit more labor intensive than just the policy committee, or just the policy reviews.
Yeah.
The bylaws are pretty extensive,
Yeah.
and I would imagine that that whoever is on the committee, that the board may want to see other examples, they may need some assistance from me, that kind of thing, so it might be better to separate those two things.
Okay.
However, if, and I don't wanna overwhelm the policy committee with, reviewing a bunch of policies and then having to
Yeah.
go through the bylaws review, which is it's a bigger
I'd
project.
rather not lump all of that together, but we can kind of do a mix.
Or however you guys wanna do it, 'cause
Yeah.
it's up to you, so I'm just trying to kinda not overwhelm the board with, having the committee have to do two.
No, I did not want the policy.
Oh, you did not, I thought you said you did want them.
No.
Oh, okay,
That,
I'm sorry.
we were actually on the same page.
Okay, I thought you
Yes.
said that you wanted the policy
I
committee
did not
to
want
do
the
it.
because
My apologies.
Yes,
Okay.
so I was
I'll
actually
shut up.
thinking, the executive committee would be our
The
review the
start.
bylaws.
Got it.
Policy, because you'll have a big group of policies
Yes,
to
yeah,
review,
because we
so,
probably have several each time.
yes. So that way, we all have something to.
That makes a lot more sense, okay.
Okay, so we are on the same page.
Yes.
You were just throwing in a plot
I did,
twist, okay.
I thought you said that you wanted the policy committee to do it, that was
No,
completely.
I did not want that.
Alright.
Did those words come out of my mouth?
No.
Okay. Just, it's possible, I'm tired, so, okay. So then, we will be in touch and we will.
When is the plan for this to be happening, the review? Do we know?
Nothing nailed down right now, but I do know something that is in the bylaws. Well, we have our new director potentially starting in April. I would
So
like
not this month, like.
Not this month,
Okay,
I'm
good.
thinking March.
Okay.
So
March is
much easier. Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
And I'm happy to assist while
Okay.
I'm here.
Yes, so before April 17th.
Yes, yes. Before
Yes.
that, before that, yes, yes. Okay,
Okay.
so we will, some more on that.
You all should have them too, if you're just itching to
Yes.
start reviewing them. If not, I can also send,
They should be in your packets.
You should have them in your binders if
Yep.
you've still got them.
Oh, sorry,
Um,
binders,
Is it in a
yes.
little
It's
binder?
it's probably in the binder. If it's not, if it's not a separate section in your binder, years ago, we gave them out in a bright green.
Yes,
Yes,
Right,
I think you
yes,
have that.
That's the bylaws one. So,
Okay.
yeah, I've got all these different color binders. The blue one is the personnel
Is the
handbook.
blue one.
The green one is the board bylaws.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I can also send out the digital copy to the executive committee if you want as well.
Okay.
If you're feeling the urge that you want to go in and start making notes on that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I just wanted, like I said, it's been a number of years since they have been looked at, and it seems like it's a good time with some new board members, a new director coming on.
I think it's
That
smart.
makes most sense.
Okay, communications, I actually did get an email, this afternoon from a Morton Grove resident, basically saying that, he would like more trees in front of the Morton Grove Library.
No.
So, I can certainly, if everyone would like to, read the full email, but just, he also, indicated that they would possibly be interested in securing the funding needing for a tree or two, and so,
Nice.
That's nice.
which
Offer a
is
solution.
very, yes, which is very nice too. So, well, I also bring this up too, because with our discussion about, the new facility assessment too, that could be maybe part of our kind of like overall view of things, if that's something that, we think is important, and, you know, and
One of the things that I have wanted to do, and I just never got around to it with everything else happening over the past, 10 to 12 years or whatever, is, we have never had like an actual like landscaping company come out and give us any kind of like overall plan for the library grounds. It's been very, like Gunka will take care of some stuff, or, the landscapers come and they cut the lawn and they trim the bushes and they do the spring and fall cleanups, but there's not really been any kind of holistic approach to the grounds. And I know with one of the things that staff has indicated a desire to have more of is more kind of native plants and things
Yeah.
like butterfly garden, that kind of thing, a garden that would attract bees and different things like that, so a pollinator's
like a
garden.
pollinator garden,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, it's like, what is the name of that? Sorry, it's been a long day for me, I've been here since 10, so I started with nothing but meetings in the emergency room.
Yeah.
So that would be, so we've not gone ahead and replaced those couple of trees that we took down when we replaced the windows, because my thinking had been to get someone to come out and give us an idea about a potential plan that would be a little bit, as I said, a little bit more holistic for the whole library and the grounds. So
Yeah.
something to think about for the future, so that's part of how you want to respond to him.
Yep, yeah. But I thought that, I'm sure that's something that has, even like passing conversations, we've kind of mentioned that kind of thing too, so I did want to share that with everyone, so. But that's all the communications I believe we have. So, public comments on agenda items, it is still just us, so.
Unless you want to
Hey,
say
Jeff.
something, Jeff.
Unless you want to say something, Jeff. Okay.
So I do want to say though, since Jeff is here, that I know that he talked to you guys, or he told you about going to Northwestern to sign up people for passports and stuff, and they want us to do that again.
Yay.
And this time they're going to have, they're guaranteeing something like 40, at least
At least
40
40
people.
students.
Wow.
So, though they will not let us use their copy machine.
Oh,
At all.
come on.
In Northwestern, but hopefully
It's
no
not
one
in
from
their
Northwestern
budget.
is watching. Pardon?
It's not in their budget.
It's not in their budget for some reason. I guess they have to build that big new field.
Right.
And Boston
Sports rule.
Yeah.
So we're buying a small printer that or copier thing that Jeff can bring with him and stuff like that. But so that will probably be sometime in March.
Yep. March 3rd and 4th
March
is what
3rd
we're
and
looking
4th.
at.
So it's really great because we're kind of, we have to get permission every time we do this from the State Department and stuff, but it's nice to be able to kind of develop the procedures behind doing this, so that if we do want to take it on the road a little bit, if we're allowed
Take it on the road,
to,
yeah.
if we're allowed to, because we'd like to electrician from the State Department each time we do it. But, you know, they did such a great job, and it was such a boom, it was such a help to that department at Northwestern. They've asked us to do it again, so.
Yeah, that's great.
Evanston, does it mind you eating their lunch?
What's that?
That's what I was wondering.
Evanston Library is so close to the campus and they're not doing it?
They don't do
They
it.
don't do past.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't think they do it or Skokie does it. And so she was saying I think we were the closest library to them that does it.
Nutty.
Nice.
And so she had been a passport agent in one of her previous positions, and so that's how she knew to look up places besides the post office.
Yeah.
Because they had a bad experience at the local Evanston post office, so,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
I mean, and I think it says a lot about our staff too, that, you know, they want us to come back, and
Yeah.
we get nothing but raving compliments from people about, you know, how
Yeah.
much time our staff takes and what a positive experience this is, particularly because a lot of people have been other places where it hasn't gone as well for them,
It'd be a
so.
nightmare.
One of the staff members actually said that they liked it so much they were looking forward to doing more outreach events. So I said, hey, the book bike. Always need somebody right
That's a long
back.
ride.
Right?
We'll have to have like cars instead.
But it is nice too, because it gives staff that don't normally get the opportunities to do some of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff, to do that, because, you
Yeah.
know, the Access Services Department is usually, you know, just here in the building and stuff, so it gives them an opportunity to go do some of those more fun things as well, so.
I did hear from one community member that's trying to organize a diaper drive. I don't know if they got in touch with
They
you.
did, and I haven't responded
Okay.
yet, so I was gonna respond to them yesterday, and then my date got away
Okay.
from me,
I
so.
had cautioned them that space is always an issue, but there are a couple people who would.
So the
come
other
in
thing
a
is
couple
that we
times a
do
week.
now have a form that we ask people to fill
Oh,
out,
okay.
so I was gonna respond
Oh,
and
great,
say,
okay.
you know, just to keep it kind of consistent with what we're trying to do, because we get so many people that ask. So we actually developed a policy and a form that we have people fill out, and then we, you know, then we look
Oh,
at that and we
great.
figure that, so, but I have not, so if you speak with her before, I say tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, I did get it, I just haven't had a chance to respond, because I've been in and out of the library so much the past few days.
Is, where's that on, where would one find that on the website? Is it on the website?
It is on the website, and I don't
Okay. I'll look
remember
around.
off the top of my
Okay,
head where it's
I'll
at.
poke around.
I think it's called, it's under, if you look under policy, Kim's, if you look under the policy
One of
page,
me.
it's under, there is just one of you, it's working on that. I did not, you know, have, you know, cocktails for dinner. It was tempting, late in every time you about bring her in, no, it was not. But, it's called charity collection
Okay.
policy.
Okay,
So,
great
and
to
from
know
there,
about
it
this,
should, it has a policy and then it has a link to the form.
All right.
Yes, that is right.
Is there, yeah.
I linked it mentally correctly.
Okay, so then that leaves us at 7:58, meeting adjourned. We'll see everyone on February 21st.